I have a few questions about what you've mentioned. I've listened and I think it's fascinating what you're saying. I certainly agree with what you're saying about we were not created in this land. There is, call it divine or call it a moral objective, that you're supposed to go into a place because you're supposed to create something there that is not what you were born into. And so there's a higher directive. And therefore, I would agree that there's a higher moral calling to the way we conduct ourselves here. I'm a little confused.
No, I don't agree that we must have a higher moral. Leave to the question wasn't moral. The question was the superiority of God in our identity was on the account of territory. Because we had been created by God. The Ten Commandments start, I, God, had created you. You haven't been created by the territory, by Moledet.
Correct.
There is no...
Moledet is not a Jewish word. It's an Israeli word, it's not a Jewish word.
No, in the Bible, in all the Bible, there is 27 places when you speak of Moledet, and Moledet are, half of them are connected to other people. So the question is Moledet. Now, what is happening?
But if I may, there's a few other things I'm confused about.
Yes.
First of all, I have a little bit of a challenge in understanding. I understand the claim. I'm not party to saying that the peace camp and national camp, as you identify them, I can agree with the definition of national camp. But there are many who would suggest that the so-called peace camp, peace can be a euphemism for something that's not peaceful at all. And the question of the establishment, I would suggest that I'm not so happy that whether Prime Minister Netanyahu is happy or not, that the average Israeli is happy with what we've done by withdrawing from the Gaza Strip, only because Israelis don't appreciate getting rockets fired at them. Those sort of 3 wars that we've had there are not something nominal. The anticipation that there's probably going to be another war and it's only a question of time is something that most Israelis are not comfortable about.
Yes, but you know how many people were killed there and how during the occupation of Gaza, and how many soldiers were killed there.
How many people would have been killed if we didn't have the Iron Dome, which was just prepared months before the Iron Dome, Kippat Barzel.
You can, you know, Gaza Strip. We had conquered all the territories of the Arabs. We are afraid of losing life there, but to conquer Gaza. We conquered Gaza in the 6-day war. We conquered Gaza in half a day. And then we have done wars with Jordan and Egypt and against tanks. It is a problem to conquer Gaza today? If there was a real problem? The question is not. The question was why we have to put 8,000 settlers alongside a refugee camps of 1 million. This is crazy.
Why should that bother them so much? That's one question. The other question is, does the international community recognize our ability to conquer Gaza? It would seem things like the Goldstone report would suggest that the international community does not allow us to do that. We can't just say we'll keep an army, as you suggested before, because if we say that we'll just keep an army, we'll just keep our forces on the ground, and there's no civilians there, then the international community says, war crimes. Israel's guilty of war crimes. You're not allowed to conquer the Gaza Strip. I'm not saying we should or shouldn't. That's not the focus. The point is, I would just suggest that it's more complex. I appreciate that you live these issues. It's very clear. You live these issues. These are very, very real to you. As they are, I would suggest to all Israelis. And you have a lot to say about the issue, as do all Israelis.